This is the We Are USANA Video Series 2020, hosted by Chief Sales Officer David Mullum. Episode 5 starts now.
Oh, that was a great ride. That was a great ride down. Hey, good to see you again. And here we are, episode 5, and we're down here at Bondi and Bondi Beach, one of the icons of Australia. It's such a beautiful beach, and if anyone's watched Bondi Rescue, really cool lifeguards down here. And it's also just a few minutes from home, which is kind of handy. Anyway, we wanted to show this off to you because, of course, Sydney will be the destination for our Executive Diamond Summit in February of 2021, and so we're really looking forward to welcoming our qualifiers for that, and we're going to take you around different parts of Sydney in this episode and in the next episode and show you a few highlights. It's all a bit quiet down here at Bondi today. Of course, things are still a little bit closed up, but this beautiful old pavilion is home to some really magical events. And when we're here in February, we've got a very special surprise in line for you guys. One of the really cool parts about the boardwalk down here at Bondi is all this great artwork that's done, all this street art. So I really love this particular piece. I think it's just a nice thank you to all of the frontline workers. So in this episode, we're going to meet a number of our world-class championship USANA athletes. The thing that comes to mind though, before we introduce those people, we're heading into, I guess, a little bit more freedom and the ability to walk around and get back into our communities, is that sense of community, our ability to explore. And we've really missed that, and so things like the Executive Diamond Summit and our leadership summits and the growth trips that we do throughout the world are so important, and we're looking forward to bringing those back online in the months and of course in the year ahead. And the second thing that we've really missed, of course, has been that sense of community. Our ability to get together as a group of people and as communities is so important, and we look forward to being able to do that through all of the great events coming up over the next year. So in the meantime, it's now my pleasure to cross over to our Chief Communications Officer, the one and only, Dan Mazuga.
While David pedals his way home to get ready for a one-on-one interview with pro surfer Flick Palmatier, it's my pleasure to chat with some of our other amazing USANA athletes to see how they've managed to keep a champion mindset throughout this crisis. So let's first say hello to 13 gold medal Paralympic swimmer from Baltimore, Maryland, Jessica Long.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And we'd also like to welcome two-time Spartan Race world champion from Colorado Springs, Robert Killian. Robert, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dan. Thanks for having me.
And also a big good to see you again to Olympic silver medal luger from Saranac, New York, Chris Mazur. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's so good to see all of you. And I want to start with Jessica, if you don't mind, because, well, one, ladies first, but also quite the impressive resume. We know you were born in Siberia. You went from a Russian orphanage to a Paralympic swimming world champion. How do you become a champion in the wake of such challenges? And I know there's many.
My life definitely started almost in an impossible way. I was put up for adoption by a 16-year-old Russian girl, and due to a birth defect, she just wasn't able to take care of me. And during that time, there was an American couple here in Baltimore who had 2 children, couldn't have any more, tried for about 10 years, and they finally decided on adoption would be the best thing. And they got word that there was a little baby girl in Russia who had leg deformities and needed to be adopted. So my dad went to Russia in 1993 to get me and another little boy and brought us here to the US. And it's amazing how everything works out because they ended up having 2 more kids. So I'm one of 6 kids, really big family. I love it. But obviously growing up, I knew it was different. I had both of my lower legs amputated when I was 18 months old. I didn't want my legs to define me. I wanted to keep up with the kids with legs, and my parents got me involved in in gymnastics from an early age. Loved gymnastics. I wanted to be an Olympic gymnast. The thing was, though, I did it without my prosthetic legs on. And my parents were really afraid over time that I would damage my knees to the point that I wouldn't be able to walk in prosthetics anymore. So they sat me down and they gave me an ultimatum and they said, you can continue in gymnastics, but you're going to have to wear your prosthetic legs. And I did not like that idea. So we decided to try a new sport. And swimming was it. I fell in love with this idea of becoming a swimmer. I wanted to make the 2004 Paralympic team in Athens, Greece, but I'd only been swimming for 2 years. And I swam well, but it wasn't, we just didn't know where my times ranked. We went to the meeting the following morning after the swim competition, and I saw athlete after athlete get named. Some of friends that I had made that weekend get named to Team USA. And then all of a sudden, they said Jessica Long, and I looked at my dad and smiled with a look that said, "I told you so." I always look back and I just think giving up was not an option. I refused to quit. I have days that are really tough and days that I really still struggle, and I think why? Like, why didn't I have legs? But at the same time, I also have to change that why into why not me?
It's really an incredible story. And I know you've got a lot of that people can read about in your book, Unsinkable. I think that's a great thing. And you talked about the obstacles you faced in the way of remaining a champion or even becoming a champion. But now I want to turn to the athlete who's really made obstacles his life's mission. Robert, you're a 2-time Spartan Race world champion, racing obstacle courses on purpose, I might add. And one might ask the question, why?
I think there's a lot of underlying reasons. I think that's one of the important things that we do find our true north, right? We find our major goal because that's your driving force. If you don't have that set in mind or identified, you're out there doing something for no reason. It makes no sense. So I would say my overall underlying goal is just to be a good role model for my kids. I have 2 children, and just, trying to instill in them that they can put their mind to something, they can go out and train really hard for it, and they can achieve their goals. But I guess also my military background, we do obstacle courses on a daily basis as a Green Beret, as a Ranger, and, within the special operations community, we have to be fit to go out and combat and be able to operate in an urban environment, pull a wounded warrior out if something happens, or just be able to, negotiate with all the weight, all the ammo, all the gear that you're actually required to carry, through a combat situation. I'm definitely not maybe the fastest or the strongest or even the most, the guy with the most endurance, but when it comes to grit and a combination of all 3, I think that's what makes me successful, is you kind of need to balance all 3 of those things.
Well, and I tell you, my wife and I have done the Spartan races, and they're not easy. So I'm very impressed by the champion status, but I also know you were also the Ironman military world champion. As if the other things weren't enough, you add that to the resume. How do you train for all of these events?
It's a bit of a balance, especially with the family integration. You really have to put them into your training. I have like a bob stroller. I've got a bike chariot. I've got backpacks that I try to integrate the kids as much as possible, and it's really good training. I don't know if you guys have ever been on a run with a double bob, but it's quite a lot of weight to push out there, and trying to integrate in proper recovery, proper nutrition to make sure you don't fall deficient on those nutrients that you're so depleted whenever you do these 9.5-hour races or a Spartan race, 3+ hours of a beast. But they do have up to 24-hour events.
Every time I hear the stories, I think to myself, this would make great movies if the people could do this. And your life certainly sounds like a movie, but just out of curiosity, who would you have be you in a movie?
I don't know. That's a good question. There's this guy I think he's on Transporter. He's got that kind of bald head like me. Can't remember his name.
Jason Statham.
Yeah, hands down.
That's a perfect fit. But you may actually have to be the one to train him based upon what you've told me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So Chris, my friend, winning silver in South Korea, you have repeatedly beat the odds. What are some of the things that, have kind of driven you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dan. I think first and foremost, you really have to believe in yourself if you're going to accomplish any goal. You have to believe in yourself more than other people believe in yourself. A couple years before the Olympics, I was ranked 3rd overall in the world, won a couple World Cups that year, and then the 2 years leading up to the Olympics, I actually received 0 results. I think 7th, 8th place, maybe if I was lucky. And, I really couldn't figure it out. And I got some help in a really unique situation. It was just 2 weeks before the Olympics. I was at the last World Cup. And I had a Russian athlete reach out to me. He didn't think he was going to the Olympics. And he said, if I can't go to the Olympics, he's like, I want to give my sled to someone who I know can succeed. So he actually gave me his sled, which is unheard of because there's so much technology involved in our equipment. And he let me try it. I didn't fit. It was out of control. But the fact that, someone like one of my biggest competitors, he was world champion last year, let me use his sled was like something that kind of I used to mentally like, I know I can do this. Other people see this. I haven't given up. And I used what I learned in just those few runs, made some changes to my sleds, finished 6th place at that World Cup, which was my best result in 2 years. And going into the Olympics, I was an underdog, but I really believed in myself. I knew I could slide as good as anybody else out there, and it all came together.
That's amazing. And you're not only a champion. You're someone I know personally who likes to give back to the sport that's gotten you to where you are today, and really could look at yourself as a champion for other athletes. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of what you've been up to, how you give back, and how you're trying to share that champion status?
Yeah, so I'm actually a mentor for Classroom Champions, which has been fantastic. I travel a lot, so I mentor kids through an online portal. But it's been difficult now because we're not traveling at all. We're not going because it's so important to meet, especially people that don't speak your language. It's great to meet face to face. So doing all these Zoom calls is new for me.
We're hearing your incredible life stories, the adversity, the challenges, setbacks. But have you ever experienced anything like what the entire world has been going through these past several months? And how have you managed to keep that champion spirit strong? Because if I recall, weren't you supposed to get married in Thailand this month?
May 9th was our wedding date. So we're definitely postponing that. You can only change your attitude, but it's important to feel that. Yeah, it's super disappointing having to move your wedding. Really disappointing not being able to be with your friends and family. And, good thing we have these options. We have Zoom. I sent a postcard. I haven't done that in forever. It's always been emails, but it's like, hey, let's go old school. Let's send a postcard. That's going to be fun for when they open it up in the mail.
That is absolutely one thing I find common amongst all of our athletes is being able to adapt to the situation.
I've seen so many people out there just doing home workouts and maintaining positive attitudes, and I think that's going to get us through this. If you want something, you're going to find a way to get it done, and I'm excited. I get to compete in a couple weeks, so we'll see how it goes.
I don't know how you guys sit still or could stay contained for any period of time, but I want to come back to you, Jessica, if you don't mind. It was a shock to me, especially, but many around the world, to hear that the 2020 Summer Games would be postponed till next year. That's a huge impact to someone when you're investing that 4 years of your life getting ready.
When the pools were closing here in Baltimore and they still were having Tokyo, we were all scrambling, right? As athletes, we were trying to find pools. I found a pool 2 hours away. I was driving there, and then that pool closed, and then they announced the postponement. And I think when it first happened, I was really glad that they made the call. But then as time kind of settled in throughout that day, it was like, wow, like this is going to change a lot. I think from my athlete standpoint, it's just remaining positive and focusing on my mindset and really trying to train my mind to see the good in this situation.
Well, you all three of you are incredible people and remarkable athletes, and I truly appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today about staying in a championship mindset, frame of mind, as we navigate the current world obstacles that we encounter. And more importantly, thank you for trusting your nutrition to USANA. We love having you part of our USANA team. It's what makes us so incredible is being able to associate and be a part of your careers and your aspirations. But we also now want to take some time and check in with some of our USANA athletes keeping the champion mindset strong on the other side of the world and our Asia Pacific markets.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gab Morena, and I'm a 2014 Youth Olympic Games mixed team gold medalist for archery from the Philippines. As we all know, we are all facing an extraordinary time in our history. But of course, as athletes, we should always maximize the resources that we have, may it be doing home workouts or taking vitamins, and most important of all, taking care of your mental health.
I'm Byron Robenheimer. I'm a New Zealand Paralympic track cyclist. With all the craziness that's going on in the world at the moment, athletes are finding themselves having to recommit to another year of hard work before the Olympic and Paralympic Games. I think now's a perfect opportunity for us as athletes to take some time to reflect on why we do what we do and embrace the enjoyment we get from our sport without the pressure of the Games looming overhead.
It was a huge disappointment to learn and hear that Tokyo 2020 were postponed. Yeah, it was my dream. But as an elite athlete, we don't focus on the things that we cannot control. Right now, I focus on the things that I can control.
Hi, I'm Rex Intal, and I'm a SEA Games medalist and a volleyball player from the Philippines. For most of us athletes, this pandemic has been the longest time we haven't played the sport we love. And as a USANA elite athlete, I know I cannot stress myself on things I cannot control. That's why I'm revisiting long-lost hobbies, trying something new, and I'm continuing my training at home.
Now, there's a lot of times I needed to find my courage, especially when things were tough, like it is now. And I have a tool called Momentary Courage, and it goes like this, that you don't have to be brave all the time, just the courage to take that first step. I call it Momentary Courage, and it's a moment that changes your life.
No matter the challenges that arise on my life path, I always know to put one foot in front of the other and keep dancing with my heart.
I continue to challenge myself every day, physically and mentally, whether it's doing a home workout, using a sack of rice as my weight, or reading books, or meditating. There's always ways that we can improve.
身为一个运动员的我们，更应该保持乐观，而不要因此而放弃我们原有的梦想和初衷。我会在这段时间努力地锻炼自己，并为将来我要面对的考验所做准备。
When we started the lockdown due to the world pandemic, I had to put the court in the comfort of my home to keep dribbling.
I know it's difficult for everyone, but stay positive, stay healthy. Stay healthy here, and stay healthy in your belly.
Just stay positive. Everything's gonna be okay.
Now all around the world, we both face a huge challenge. Sometimes the failure knocks us down, but we get back it up, stand up again, face the challenge, and win the final victory. United we stand, divided we fall. We are USANA!
Well, I made it back from my bike tour in record time because I'm working on my own championship mindset. It's great to see so many of our USANA athletes keeping positive and living well. Someone who has exemplified staying strong and active at home during these interesting past months is another one of our elite athletes and a really great ambassador for USANA. And she's joining us from Perth in Australia. Let's say hello to professional surfer Flick Palmateer. Hi, Flick.
Hi, David. Hi, USANA.
It's lovely to see you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, all the way from Western Australia.
I'd like to know, how did you get started? How old were you? I've seen pictures of you when you were a little grom. Is that what you call a female young surfer, as a grommet?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I started surfing when I was 6 years old and I started competing when I was 12. My dad got me into surfing from a really young age, and yeah, I just kind of fell in love with the ocean. And I guess I got into big wave surfing because I grew up in Western Australia and it's really renowned for its bigger, more powerful surf. Gradually just surfing bigger and bigger waves and eventually the biggest in the world.
So you have surfed the biggest wave in the world?
Probably did break my own record actually at the end of last year during the Jaws Challenge over in Hawaii, Maui, and I got second there. The most renowned big wave spot in the world. It's the most challenging. It picks up the most swell. It's such a big playing field, and to really make it in big wave surfing, I guess that's the epitome. That's the wave you really want to succeed at. So,
how many feet or how many meters would they be generally?
In feet, I'd say anywhere up to about 40. And I don't know what that is in meters because I always say feet when I'm surfing. 40 feet, 40 foot.
How do you prepare mentally for that?
I guess the thing that, I mean, everyone says, you know, far out, you must be crazy doing what you do, you know, but there's a lot of preparation, like you said, that goes into it. And from that, I draw confidence. The reason why I surf and surf big waves is that it teaches me so much about myself. And I just start to understand myself better, how I react under pressure, how I react to fear or respond more so to fear. And I guess it also teaches me and challenges me what I thought I knew and what I do know. And I just love that, the constant challenge. And yeah, it's never the same. The ocean's never the same. So it's always refreshing. It's inspiring.
And you are inspiring to a lot of people. I see the tens of thousands of people who follow you. And there's a team of people around you that you interface with and you interact and you work with. Tell us about how important that whole dynamic is for you as a professional athlete.
For anyone really to be super successful and being an athlete especially, you need to have a team of people around you. You can't just do it by yourself. Just even your friends and your family, and just having that strong base, because to succeed you really need to have all those foundational blocks in place. And especially big wave surfing, when you go out and do it, it's not just you taking off on the waves, it's your safety people that are looking out for you on the jet ski, which you're putting your life in their hands. Because it is life and death, there's so much at stake, and you really have to trust in those people that are in your team. Yeah, just making sure we're all on the same page and trying to get Flick into the biggest wave she can.
Yeah. You're also developing quite a dynamic entrepreneurial extension of yourself in a variety of different ways. You just seem to be breaking some boundaries artistically, and certainly in coaching and I think influencing people in a very positive way.
Yeah, thanks. That's nice. Just being an athlete anyway, you know, you got to develop a bit of a profile, and everyone now usually uses social media. So I've gained a bit of a following on there. And I've also really been interested in arts from a really young age. Yeah, it's something that has always been a constant in my life and something that I always go back to for me time. And in the last few years, I've kind of pushed that a bit more. I've had 2 solo art exhibitions, and then more recently, I've now got a softboard collaboration going on with my artwork on one of the softboards. So kind of diversifying there. And I guess I am influencing every day on social media too. If you have time, you can go check it out. See if I have anything interesting to say.
What advice would you give for people starting off in their own businesses, or starting off in their own entrepreneurial, following their dream?
For me, and the most important thing is transparency, what you said, but authenticity and being vulnerable. Your vulnerability is not a weakness, but a gift. It really is amazing. And if you can be vulnerable and transparent with people, you're going to have a truer connection. And just by sharing your story, I mean, that's how you gain other people's perspectives, and it's way more real, and you have way more truer connections, and just making sure that everything that I'm putting out there really is me.
It does also look like you work really hard at everything that you do. How important is that?
I feel like being an athlete, you can get really focused and involved on the end goal. And the end goal in surfing is to win. And at the end of the day, there's only one winner, and you can't win all the time. So I think the most important thing that I've learned is it's not about what you're doing. It's like how you engage with it and the journey. And it sounds cliche, but it really is. And the attitude that you go forward into everything you do, whatever it is, working out, eating, training, just relationships, I always just try and give it 100%, because it really is the journey.
Our relationship with you has been now for a number of years. It started off really in a health regime, but I see you've become quite a Celavive fan.
Yeah. I mean, definitely it started off with the health pack, and then I started using the Celavive products, and I love it. Oh my gosh, they're the best. I use it daily and nightly, and the exfoliating mask plus scrub's been my go-to at the moment, especially changing seasons and my skin being exposed to sun all the time. It's just like the perfect go-to. If I have a lot of time, I'll put it on and use it as a mask, but if I don't, I just use it as a face wash, and yeah, it's doing wonders.
One last question before we leave today. It's been pretty challenging the last few months globally, and what's been the biggest learning for you? What have you taken away from this experience?
The best thing that has been for me is being able to reconnect with my friends and family, because don't get me wrong, my job is one of the best in the world. I travel constantly and I pretty much follow summer all year round. One of the negatives is that I hardly see my friends and family at all, like maybe two weeks a year. So for me to have this like routine and constantly be in contact with my family and seeing them, it's just been amazing. It's really hard when you're living out of a suitcase and traveling to a different destination every 2 weeks. So the routine and the family time's been awesome.
Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. We appreciate your beautiful soul and the grace you bring to the world.
Cool. Thank you so much, David. Thanks for the chat and hopefully see you soon.
Now it's time to hear a story of inspiration and adaptation from an associate who had to shut down her successful restaurant during the world crisis, but found a way to persevere with her USANA business. From the United States, here is one-star Diamond director, Linda Chen.
嗨，我是 Linda， 我来自广东，从小就在经商环境中长大，受父母影响，耳濡目染，母亲一直教育我要自己创业，不要给别人打工。自己做过很多的创业，有成功也有失败。我属于双重创业，所以很多人都会问我一个问题：嘿 ，Linda， 你经营餐馆的时间这么紧张，你怎么还有时间去经营USANA？我的答案是，其实我是在经营USANA的同时，挤出了时间和先生一起去经营这家餐馆。事业的定位很重要，只要把最重要的事业定位，你就会像我一样，不管做任何的事情，都能关联到USANA事业。无论是在跟客人沟通，还是在采购和送餐过程中，我都会利用起所有能接触人的机会去经营我的事业。两者间的对比，传统生意的难处和压力，让我深切地体会到USANA的生活模式和经营方式才是我一直走下去的正确方向选择。这次疫情，纽约是重灾区，对我的餐馆影响很大。对于我自身来说，疫情让原本的传统收入归零，但是我的USANA事业并没有停止，反而越来越好。这样的情况反差，让我的家庭和团队对于USANA事业前景更加有信心和坚定。最后，我想分享一下我不断提醒自己和团队的一些话：不管你现在是否已经在路上，朝着自己的目标前进，只要是在向前，就一定会到达顶峰。顶峰的风景一定超乎你想象。这是一份绝对值得你投入无限努力的事业。这份事业在开始的时候，不一定是每个身边的人支持，但是一定要坚信自己当初加入这份事业时的选择和信心，因为只有你自己才知道如何在自己低落的时候激励自己、鼓励自己，陪伴你自己走过那段只能左手温暖右手的日子。幸运的是，这份事业的优势在于这段路上所有的伙伴都会和你一起走过，我们一起加油。
Hey, thank you, Linda. That is just an amazing story of resilience. So inspiring and congratulations. Last week, we premiered a new segment in this series called Highlights from Home. It's a chance for us to have a little laugh at the unique ways that you've been keeping yourselves entertained at home over these past months. It was such a hit, we're bringing it back for round 2. Who needs to go to Disneyland? Diamond directors Sahi Subi and Chen Kaijun from Taiwan created their own happiest place on earth. You've got a friend in me. Gold director Ungi Agustina and her team from Indonesia are TikToking the time away with supplemental workouts. From workout to knockout, believer Samuel Galang Otaide from the Philippines discovers just how dangerous a hairbrush can be. Oh my goodness. Can we see that again? Ruby director Vicky Tan from Malaysia discovers that the only thing that makes her happy is USANA. Many of our associates are getting their abs in shape with the TikTok Plank Challenge, like director Mylène Massé from Canada and Kezia Del Rio, gold director from Australia. My abs are getting in shape just from laughing so much. Even our market managers are feeling the constriction of home. This little gem is courtesy of our dear friend Erwin, who looks after our French business. So thanks for your fun-loving positivity and productivity now and always. That was just awesome. Hey, a couple of weeks ago, we announced some global product promotions in conjunction with the Brightening series launch, and they were really successful. And so we've got some great promotions that are going on around the world. And some of the examples that we've got, the US is doing Dr. Lee's Celavive favorites. Korea has the K-Beauty Mask Trio promotion. Buy 3, get 1 free. Australia and New Zealand is promoting product experience packs. Mexico is doing a rank advance bonus. Philippines is doing a team up, step up travel incentive. And China is doing an amazing weight management event. There are so many exciting things that are happening. And keep in mind, some of these promotions are obviously subject to change, so watch for communications from your individual markets. But make sure you're always going into the hub every day, because there's always something special happening at USANA. So coming up next week, we're focusing on the foundation of our success, USANA's core values. We're also talking about the exciting things happening with the USANA Foundation itself. And of course, another installment of highlights from home. But before we go, let's congratulate Asia Pacific's top distributor in rollers.
Ruby Director, Yap Chiet Fa. Emerald Directors, Lisa Ng and Ivan Huang. Executive 4-Star Diamond Directors, Lawrence and Precious Sia. Executive 10-Star Diamond Directors, Lucas Lim and Jane Liao. Executive 6-Star Diamond Director, Hyun Jin Kwan. Executive Gold Directors, Bob and Mahuli Sarmiento. Executive Ruby Directors, Edwin and Josephine Tan. Gold Director, Insuk Beck. 1-Star Diamond Director, Assistant Professor, Aporn Jatura Patarawang. Emerald Directors, Aaron Teofilo and Mary April Beltran. Gold Director, Stephanie Ho. Ruby Directors, Priya Nut and Charnchai Kilapang. Executive Ruby Directors, Archie-san and Shalia Mehram. Ruby Director, Fabian Gies. Achiever, Sun Yong Jong. Silver Director, Zhong Le Hong. Diamond Directors, James Tan and Susan Lim. Executive Emerald Directors, Cheng Shan Qing and Liu Pei Feng. Gold Director, Lai Si Pang. Emerald Directors, Eric Ho and Anna Tan. Diamond Directors, Dr. Jarun Sak and Nutsara Atsawat Metapan. Gold Directors, Ik-Du Yu and Sang Soon Lee. Executive 8-Star Diamond Directors, Ada Chai and Jeff Ng. Executive 2-Star Diamond Directors, Zhuang Xiaoying and Winston Jaya.
And now it's my honor to announce Asia Pacific's #1 top distributor in roller. From Indonesia, Ruby Directors, Niara Ribka and Bernard Satyadi. Woohoo! Yoo-hoo! Rockin', congratulations.
Thank you, David.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're doing really great. Thank you very much.
You've been bringing new team members in during a pretty challenging time. I guess being in lockdown a little bit, has that been helpful for you because you've been able to contact people?
Yeah. So if I may be honest, actually this condition has kind of helped. If it wasn't for our hard-fought years, over the years where we kept planting the seeds in social media, so our focus is on building our personal brand through social media. And we don't sell, so we focus on education. And I believe that had created a good trust between us and our audience. And I believe because of that, we've managed to achieve what we've achieved. Social media is not just a tool, but I think it's a very powerful prospecting machine. And now in this modern age, not only young generations are in social media, but you see people at like 50 years and above. Even my mom is really good in social media now. She's 60 years old. I've also got my grandma who's also about 80, and she can actually also use social media.
What advice would you give all of the new associates and distributors that are watching this today?
There's no success key for USANA business. More importantly, you have to keep sharing about USANA, keep educating people, and keep following up.
Again, congratulations. Thank you for all that you're doing and sharing the vision of this great company across Indonesia. Stay strong and stay well. So that's all for us this week. So we'll see you next time, and it's bye for now.
We are USANA. Thanks for watching.